Here's the topology. Pretty simple today. This is our web application. This is a firewall that's not really going to make a difference. Here's our Kali box that we'll be operating from. Again, here's the content, and here is the download button. So you can download that and then view it, in parallel while you're working through the lab. Okay, so let's click on Kali. We're going to be using the front end today for a change instead of the command shell. Root and then Tor, root backwards. Click login. We're doing all right. Here we are. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize this. Well, I'm going to close this shell because we don't need it. Okay. So let us click on this top left button here. It's like the start button. And we're going to go to vulnerability analysis 02. And we're looking for OpenVAS start. Okay. Please wait while it starts. Okay, and then let's go to this URL. Okay. Now, it doesn't say... All right, so basically we want to open a web browser. So click this button, go to web browser, okay? In the address bar. Okay, I guess I can't copy and paste through here, so let me just do it this way. HTTPS 127.0.0.1:9392. So just as a quick aside, when you put in an IP address, it's thinking port 80 because that's the standard port for web traffic, or 443, which is HTTPS standard port. Remember we talked about ports, service level, right? Above in the transport layer. Well, so if you don't put anything, it defaults to 443. It's like, because that's a standard, it doesn't even have to be put there. So when you put :9392, you're explicitly saying, I want to use this connection, a web browser connection, but I want it to be on port 9392. So when we started this OpenVAS service, it started a listening port on port 9392. Okay. Press enter once you get in there. And you should see this. This is our OpenVAS interface. So let's type in admin and password. Hit login. Okay. Cool. All right, so let us select SecInfo, which is right here, and dashboard, which is right here. All right. All right, so this is just some information, or like all of this data likely came from a previous scan. So typically in commercial environments, you'll be scanning all the time. In fact, in rather large organizations, you basically scan until you've completed it, then start over and scan, because it'll take like a week to scan all the devices on your network. So you configure it to do it weekly scans, right? So these, not all vulnerabilities are created equal. Some are more scary than others. So, in order to prioritize which ones you spend time fixing, we have this criticality rate. This environment's quite scary with 26,000 really high vulnerabilities. That would be a problem for me if I was in charge of this network. Okay, so let us select extras and then CVS calculator. CVSS is basically, you can Google it, but it's it's an industry standard protocol, for lack of a better term, for communicating the severity or risk score of a vulnerability. So like if you ever see a 0-day drop or whatever, there will be a CVSS score associated with it. And that score can go up to 10, and it indicates to people quickly how bad is this thing, right? So, if it's a score of 10, you really should fix it immediately, right? I encourage you to Google around that. Recently there was in 2021, there was 4 Exchange 0 days dropped, and those all had level 10 severity, and people went to work at 3 in the morning to fix the problem immediately before it got out of control. So that's the point of this calculator, and you could play with it or whatever. But that like part of like where these scores come from, like high, medium, low, is based on the output of those calculations, right? Okay, so moving on to section 2 of the lab manual. Let's go to dashboard. Oh wait, I'm in the dashboard. Let's go to scans right here. Yep. And then tasks. So a scan is running the vulnerability scanner on either an endpoint or a collection of endpoints, right? All right, so we're going to click on the purple wizard icon, which is conveniently quite obvious. And we're going to do task wizard. We're going to do a default scan on our 192.168.8068.12, right? Which, if we look at our topology, is probably this box right here, right? 192.168.68.12. Okay, cool. All right, so let's click Start Scan. Awesome, we're scanning. We're scanning this web app, right? This is kind of like the way we did Nmap in Lab 1 to kind of see what services were listening, and then we had to like Google exploits for the version of the software and stuff like that. It's kind of similar here where we're scanning, and this tool does a lot of the work for us, where it'll say, here's a list of all the vulnerabilities that was discovered on this IP or this system, and how bad they are, and what, oftentimes there'll be like recommendations on how you can resolve the issues. Okay, so looks like there is some issues here. Let's take a look, right? Okay, so it's starting to run. It's at 1%. I'm going to skip the video. This will take a little bit of time. So go grab a coffee, go grab a glass of water, hit the head, whatever you got to do. But you just wait, and you'll see what the output is, and then we'll do something with it. Okay? So I'll skip ahead. Okay, so I got this error. So I don't know if you're going to get the same error, but I'm going to go to scans, tasks, task 101, okay? And it's still running. So if you get that error, just go to tasks, or excuse me, scans and then tasks, and you should get right back here. Okay, so that took about 20 minutes. The scan is complete. You can see it says status done here. Just go ahead and click on under this reports section. If you click on the date, we'll pull up the report, and let's take a quick look. So these are all vulnerabilities that are on this machine right here. And you can see the CVSS score here. These are all 10s, quite high, not good. OS end of life is really bad, right? There's no security patches coming out for that. There's a weird wiki CMS thing that's quite vulnerable. So basically this, from a defensive perspective, tells you what you need to fix on your network or your endpoints or your infrastructure people need to fix. And if you're an attacker, it tells you where the softest spots are on the endpointer. Like, if you were going to take over this machine, especially since this is a web app, so it's supposed to be internet facing. So this would be quite awful to find in your DMZ. All right, I hope you enjoyed the lab. Sorry, my video crapped out. Take a picture of this report here, just to let me know that you completed the lab. And yeah, I hope you had fun with it. I appreciate it. And thank you. We'll see you in lecture.